Hi guys, and welcome back to day number 2 of the VCT Game Changers APAC Elite. We just witnessed Fulson Sapphire put in a full stop to G's upper bracket run, and now we're in for another treat because we've got RRQ Kaguya going up against Scythe and NWJ lined up for you guys. Raph, how are you feeling about this matchup?
Oh man, I feel like this is going to be super exciting just because this is one of those matchups where we kind of expect RRQ to do what RRQ does, and that's going to be dominating the competition with firepower and just being very front-facing as a team. Meanwhile, the story of Scythe is something that I feel like a lot of us have been paying close attention to ever since, I believe it was the first Open, where they're the kind of team that will make it to the playoffs to all our Opens. They're going to be the perennial 4th, 3rd, but hopefully this time in Elite is where they really break through and get within that top 3 because, again, this is a very storied team. They've been together for quite some time, and we've seen their chemistry develop as a whole for a good minute now.
Yeah, 100%. I think Scythe also, they are the only full Indonesian squad this time around, and they've pretty much kept their entire roster throughout the majority of this year as well. And yeah, I think last year they played overtime, and then LCQ unfortunately didn't make it into Elite. I think they were just something like 7th to 8th place. This year though, they have made it to Elite, so it's just a wonderful story, and we're hoping for great things for them. I mean, I think this, out of all the 4 first matchups, was the one where we thought that, like, this might be the closest. We might go to all 3 maps. But guys, we've got a snazzy video intro for the teams coming up. And that's the squad of RRQ Kaguya. On your screens, Aluka, Ayumi, Best Iceberg, as well as Nabsky. And these girls just seem to be peaking at the absolute right time. They ended Open 3 in 2nd place after finally getting the better of their age-old rivals Full Sense. They did lose to them 5 times earlier this year in playoffs throughout Open 1 and Open 2 and 3. And what better time to mount that comeback than right now?
That's true. And again, we mentioned and we talked about how storied these ladies are. And just to kind of highlight the whole matchup for everybody here, RRQ Kaguya is going to be coming off of a grand finals loss, I believe, from Team SMG from their previous matchup. So they might be kind of going into this one with, that extra pep in their step to just kind of, get that rematch going.
Yep, but enough of RRQ Kaguya for now. We've got Scythe ID. Crescent, Lynn, Yamori, Uriphilia, and Sky Elise. I do believe Marsh is going to be sitting out Elite. She did play in Open 3. Unfortunately, the roster Scythe has decided to go for these 5 members for Elite. But as we said, they're the only full Indonesian squad this time around. Of course, Uriphilia, Yamori, some of the big names that we're going to be looking out for. I personally can't wait to see Yamori just whip out the operator once again. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty sweet to watch. It's definitely what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Raph, you're a big fan of Scythe.
Oh yeah, and again, it's just really how resilient this team plays. Like, again, just if you look at their record and if you look at how they play, especially on long defaulty maps, they're definitely not gonna have a great start, but they always seem to be present all the way through. They're always gathering data. They're always trying to adjust to the opposing team, which, despite my, again, just interest in how both these teams play. I feel like there's definitely going to be a matchup problem against Kaguya because Kaguya loves to keep shuffling that offensive deck. They're going to hit you hard with a lot of executes, and they'll keep you guessing, which is, once again, a slight problem on the side of Scythe NWJ, especially with a veto like this with Haven as an opener.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting in particular. I think Haven for Scythe, is definitely one of their top 3, top 4 most played maps. I mean, it's Game Changers. Pretty much every Game Changers team plays a lot of Haven throughout the circuit. I mean, RRQ play Haven a fair amount as well. The interesting thing to note in this best of 3, though, is that for Split and Bind, I kind of want to say that Scythe look like they've maybe won the map veto because generally RRQ Kaguya try not to play Split and Bind as much as possible. So I'm thinking, if RRQ don't manage to win that map number 1, they might be in for a bit of trouble if it does go to that map 2 and map 3.
I agree, and I feel like it's on Scythe to truly lead this dance against RRQ Kaguya, which they've historically had a bit of problem dealing with. If Kaguya's not running you down, then it seems their tendency to fall into a slump gets highlighted. Again, it is a little bit of a mirror match here. We only have a difference in our initiators. We have the long-range initiators on the side of Scythe with the Breach and the Sova. Very, very traditional. On the side of Kaguya, we go for the double controller setup again. So, again, that rock, paper, scissors that we were hoping to see in that first match might just appear in this one.
Yeah, and really quickly before we toss over to our casters, what are your predictions for the series, Raph?
I think Kaguya might go with this one. 2-1 though. I'm a firm believer that Scythe is still gonna fight back, but ultimately it's the experience of Kaguya that might win the day.
You read my mind. I was thinking exactly 2-1 to RRQ Kaguya as well, but that's, just the predictions. When it comes to the game, no one knows how it's gonna go. Once again, we've got our lovely caster duo for you guys. It's Quack and Blue.
Well, we end it on Haven a while ago. We start on Haven this time around here with RRQ versus Scythe. And for a team like Scythe, they've constantly been able to kind of separate themselves from the lower kind of top 8 teams that would make the playoffs typically, but they're going up against a different team that has kind of also separated themselves from teams like Scythe in terms of where they stand. So for Scythe, this is really one of the biggest opportune moments for them to show that they can stand toe-to-toe with some of the top dogs in the scene.
And I think this is a great map to make that happen. The fact that they picked this tells me that, hopefully they have studied up on how RRQ Kaguya plays on this map. And if that was the case, no matter how much experience RRQ Kaguya has, there is a chance that Scythe could actually come out on top for the first time. If you take a look at their individual head-to-heads, RRQ Kaguya versus Scythe NWJ, most times it is RRQ Kaguya coming out on top. But that said, this is now an RRQ Kaguya also with Coach Ducky coming into the mix, and he's pulling out a lot of interesting things, Black and Blue. Look at that double controller. I am very curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, the Viper as well, on a map like this, very curious. What I do worry, though, is on the defense, you are going to have a lot less active information gathering possible on your team. A lot less trap potential to be made. Like, obviously, yes, the paranoia is still there for that, but it's about how they play the cards that they deal themselves over what necessarily is brought to the table. We like to say a lot of times, and so, let's see. Do Scythe overtake this series from the get-go? Or do RRQ sail to the finish as we open up with map number 1?
Y'all gotta shuffle that deck. You got those cards. You gotta know when to fold them. You gotta play them right. And it's always the duelists that we're keeping our eyes on. We know how strong Ayumi can be, and not a lot of people know this, but she is one of those big reasons why Alter Ego Celeste was doing so well last year. But same goes for Yamori, because she's often finding a lot of first kills and popping off along with it as well. Now, just kind of set up outside of B. They are prepared to rush in. They've got some flashes available. Crescents maybe going in for this. Just going in for that full-on execute. Look at the Tailwind in. And Yamori's clearing out the entirety of B.
And they're going for the flank, though, but see Sky Lee trying to catch him off guard, but Aluka keeps him in check And look at the full retake here, coming in from the grass instead, touching it for sure. They take the link control, but only towards a link. Then we turn towards that ceiling position. They can kind of tap the defuse here, just to pull pressure. They've got the half to secure the paranoia. They can stick! They can stick! No! They take her down with the aftershock! Crescents barely comes on in when they need it to the most. 1v2, but it's not enough. Scythe take the opening pistol.
What an explosive start, Black and Blue. I mean, so many times we've seen RQ stick defuses before, clear game plans and retakes and whatnot. But this time, an aftershock with 2 pulses is what takes them down.
Oh, that was so close though. Not a bad idea at all to stick at that case. The aftershock barely buying them out of that one there. It came so close, but a good read at the end of things. They take that A-Link control away, which is the most opportune place for RQ to come for. If there ever was kind of a trap there. Now Scythe. An open pistol is a great way to start for sure, and Pick here in the second continues that idea.
I can definitely applaud what RQ are trying to do. You know, get a little bit more map control pushing down mid. With this, they could perhaps jump up window, and if the timing is right, maybe set up a bit of a flank. But still, Elika as well as Oreophilia, excuse me, are watching a lot of these angles. That one bit of Killjoy utility around A lobby is going to be very pesky for Best to work against. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, I mean, all these Bulldogs, automatic weapons onto the site. It's slim and easy pickings for NWJ.
Last enemy remaining.
Okay,
Down A.
nabbing herself a few at the end, but
Operations were too
ultimately
primitive.
enough. Nicely done by NWJ. The way that they're able to start things off as well there with Sky Elise finding a pick off, I think it speaks volumes here how ready NWJ were for this series in general.
Spike down A.
And again, I mean, it's one of those things where it really gives you a bit of a boon to how you can play in this potential bonus round win. Yes, they've got 3 Bulldogs still, maybe not the best for Crescents as well as Oreophilia, but still relatively useful nonetheless. Meanwhile, RRQ actually trying to find their way back into this game.
Well, they have guns now to actually play with. Certainly gonna have their case on out. Let's see if they try and get active here early on. Obviously, the idea with the double controller in general is conditioning early, but that's more effective on the attacking side. On the defense, it's about we're trying to stall things out, right? Deny info off the attacking side on where potentially the defense is a bit more hurled up towards. With this Viper wall, I want to see how they utilize this. It's a wall that is made for giving up front side control, but that could just establish a kill box for them to capitalize on that front side when they give it up.
Okay, here we go. They're using it defensively, though, holding out backside instead. Bumping herself on top of her flat, but okay, it kind of works out. Her teammates are here to back her up. So much fire support, and now all they got to worry about is C-Long. Nanoswarm will burn away at Best's speed, but it comes down to it, and Skyly still has more targets to hit. Running out of ammunition, she backs up. Her teammate continues to push up front, but Garage, as well as the site, is still locked down. RRQ Kaguya picks up their win.
Lovely stuff here, coming from RRQ. And the thing is, what's underrated about that wall as well is not just kind of like the backside control it gives you on the defense, but if you do go for the plant, that planter is going to be isolated from the rest of the team. They're going to be exposed to logs, leaving a logs player able to deny the plant if it ever does come. They're going to have to clear out that logs player, otherwise no go. So really lovely stuff we're seeing here from RRQ. And you definitely need that second smoker to make this fight work.
It really makes you think twice about pushing into C. And yes, that secondary omen as well is something that they can use. And that's why they have it. You gotta love Coach Ducky working his magic with this team. And right now, these compositions are working a treat. NWJ are, kind of stopped in their tracks. They're respecting a lot of these smokes.
Typical smoke here and towards A long. Just to try and info bleed as well. Make things more difficult. Obviously, Alika making first contact there, but Scythe, I don't think they want too much to deal with it just yet. See him kind of hesitating, continuing here towards the safe site, but with the lurk already here towards garage, I think
No
we're gonna
commit.
wager toward the other side of the map.
What I like is Iceberg making use of all this time to sneak into C Cubby. But also, NWJ just trying to play it safe, right? Just get as much information as possible and try to listen to the sounds and figure out how many players are positioned towards each site. And also burning away at those smokes from Oreo
30 seconds left.
Alpha, excuse me. Now coming into it, they've gone in for the execute on through B to A, perhaps? Or really pushing out of short
A.
now. They've managed to take down Alka towards the back of A Link. And with that, they have the A site with 15 seconds left on the timer. Now it's going to be a tough retake for RRQ Kaguya.
10 seconds left.
Scythe somehow get
Spike
away with there, a
planted.
bit of a scramble towards that A link, but things turn in their favor anyways. He said 2v4, very difficult. They have a cloud burst here to kind of smoke off the hell position, but there's a gap, a huge gap, way too big. It just makes it so much more difficult.
I need a replay. Was that spray transfer?
Show me where to go.
Did she do like
Might
a
just have
little?
been.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I can't believe this was the game plan called by Crescents, the IGL of Scythe NWJ. They went from B into A with a bit of an A split with Oriphilia pushing out A short, and that's how RQ just kind of did a double take turnaround. I was like, what just hit us?
Well, they threw lots of utility there towards that A link. You can see it, right? The opening flashpoint, and then the stun, and then another flash, and then the paranoia. Well, the final paranoia didn't connect on a Nabsky, but Alka had hers, and that connected for sure. It's just unfortunate that RRQ weren't able to get the punish, and things still turned out in Scythe's favor. But on the attacking side, they definitely need to be securing those type of rounds anyways, and so once more, a bit more orthodox in their at least pocket, and it's leaving a few more options in terms of initiating a fight for sure.
Right? It's a crucial round, something that RQ Kaguya could have really used to cement their momentum into the game, but at the same time, just with the fact that Scythe NWJ made such a call. And by the way, this team doesn't really have a coach coming into Game Changers APAC Elite. They're pulling off things like this with the utility that they have, and it is so fun to watch. Now we're going to round 5, and they're looking to capitalize off of this as well, given the fact that RQ Kaguya is on a thrifty.
Let's see here. Obviously, RRQ on an eco here, as you said. But this stack, if he can play this right, could be devastating towards RRQ, rather towards Scythe's attack. With that toxic screen, rather poison cloud going on up, already dissuade Scythe from continuing on. And what you're seeing here is the difference between a comp made for buying space versus a comp made for confirming space taken.
Yeah, that's... Again, the magic of this double controller setup. I can't stop but think about how effective it is right now. NWJ are taking their time with this.
As they should. I mean, they still haven't given on up how much presence and positions they have actually here within the site. Dash on up. I don't think Amori knows of the positions here coming from RRQ. And once more, they fall into the trap, into the waiting arms of RRQ, who are just way too ready to deal with him. Alka good for another here. Lin? Okay, that's a double, but ultimately enough, it's still a 1v3. 1v2 for Sky Elise. Sky's the limit, but she's got little time to work with here. Nabsky just has to weave and dodge, but the Yumi from C-Long secures it. And RRQ, the trap, the Wolfpack waiting. It strikes and pounces.
And they just take a chunk out of Scythe NWJ. What a bite. I mean, black and blue, this is a thrifty win. I'm actually kind of shocked. Why did Scythe NWJ decide to commit to this particular site, despite the fact that we know how scary this toxic screen is coming out from Iceberg?
Get out of my way!
Now we've got
I guess they just were kind of short for options there. And you'd be surprised, right? They have a bit more information gathering and still we're unaware of how much we're actually set on up. Speaking of setup, so Yumi just takes Lin down, and that's their biggest piece of information gathering removed in this round. Scythe looking to be committed to, and once more RRQ are ready.
Yeah, Iceberg's just waiting for this. Yeah, and there is that thing that you mentioned about kind of buying space, right? It's just blocking off NWJ again. And they're gonna have to look towards another site. Wow. Flicks upwards, gets Elika, and with that, potentially the C site. But again, you gotta think about this toxic screen. And it's so easy for RRQ Kaguya to just rotate back around this. 50 seconds on the clock, though, and NWJ has their options available to them.
It just slows them down so much. If you want to go through Garage in a C, you have to cross that toxic screen twice just to get to the C site. That's so much pressure applied, even just the perception of it. Op doesn't connect, obviously, and they're gonna have to retake with it here, but no, those blades missing as well.
Last
Are
one.
gonna be a big damper to their attempt. Blade for blades, but the Uni's got a few more to throw. It connects as well. Trades coming on here. Ariophilia double. That's a double now for her as well. Iceberg down to the 1v2 for Yamori, who connects with a classic, but just doesn't have enough left in the tank to take Nevsky down as well. RRQ come back with a round.
Great reads, and it's that great setup again. I mean, with Elika putting up that dark cover blocking off B for just a second, it kind of worked out well. We also have a Yumi with an opening pick on her operator towards A short, I believe, taking down that Sova coming out from NWJ. And it's so many of these plays that really slow down, kind of like what you mentioned, Black and Blue, NWJ's plays. It starts to trickle down and it grinds often to a halt. When that happens, the timer really ticks down. They start to feel that pressure. And that's why we go into round 7, 3-3. We've got 4 ultimates on Scythe NWJ's side, though.
3 as well on RRQ here to utilize. Oh, I like that. Early snake bite into the window. Perfectly timed as well. Just a nice Skylace of early positioning. Of course, that just further reinforces the idea of this comp to kind of confirm space, at least momentarily,
I got the spike.
as opposed to buying it on the attacking site's side. Crawling up here towards B, and perfect timing as well on that ult here.
Okay. That's a big obstacle.
Oh yeah.
Again, though, I'm thinking about those 4 ultimates. NWJ, they have a lot of options to work with them. Oh, what a jiggle. And with that, Ayumi's forced to back off. And this is now the C side potentially slightly more open, but Bess just sprays them down. 2 heads gone. And they stop for just another second, Black and Blue. Trying to play off the recon bolt. Lin makes her way in through the window. Catches on towards Bess, but now has to grind her sights over on towards Ayumi. Manages to make it happen, but caught in a 1-on-3. Finds yet another frag, but 30 seconds remaining, and the spike is down. Goes back in to pick it up, but at this point, she has only 2 options, C or B. We're gonna choose the former, and checking the wrong angle, Elika snatches her away instead. It's 4-3 in favor of RRQ.
Lovely stuff from Lin there, but even better, I guess, to secure from RRQ. In pushing through that garage with, when the toxic screen goes up, makes the spam so much easier to connect with there. You can see Bess fully capitalizing on that fact. Oh, Lin. It's a nice attempt, ultimately enough, but heroics won't be what wins this game.
Oof. That's why, I mean, momentum is such an important factor. Right now, RQ is the one that has it. Another frag going their way. Good attempt, a good idea with that. Such a hold, though, from NWJ.
NWJ, I mean, they are taking down a pick. A piece. Just a bit. And Scythe's not going to bode well for them if they continue down this path. Obviously, it'd be much better to try and split things up on Garage, but they know that toxic screen's been a problem there towards that Garage, and you can see them being dissuaded already early on by it. Stun on connects. Ooh, does get the one, at least at range. Yamori for a second still 3v1.
Yeah. Really difficult, but if you could get as many alt orbs as possible in this round, yeah, I'll take it. Jumping over, Navsky instantly reading this. Lays out that trap, and it's RRQ 5-3.
Remember.
And what could they really do in that round anyways, so... Nothing too big lost. Double stack there, not finding the job. We come into now the kind of final phase of the opening half, where you'd want to see this attacking side start to secure these next few rounds. You need the 6, especially the 7th. Coming on the defense here can be quite difficult, especially when there's so much more kind of pressure that can be applied here with the double controller on the attack. But Yamori, that's a good pickoff. Obviously, the op wasn't expecting it here on Nayumi, so now they have a real good reason to barrel down towards A.
Hit him hard, hit him fast. Lockdown in place as well. And they're still not necessarily committing. I guess they're trying to lure out Navsky's lockdown, and then Hunter's Fury comes in. We're finally making use of those ultimates and making our way into the site. There is a bit of a potential flank coming up from Iceberg, though. A pop flash from Vest, and they're trying to stop the spike plan, or at least go in with a fast retake. Skyly still able to cancel out those Seekers, shoots upwards, and holds them at bay. With that,
Orgeophilia was assuredly taking Non down there, but no, she still stays alive. Quack, the retake to come on in. Player count heavily on Scythe. I think they're going to go for a save here.
Might make more economical sense. Just kind of holding some of these angles and waiting for it. NWJ backing off into A short and A long instead. Okay, a little bit unfortunate. And I was thinking that Iceberg might have set up for a bit of a flank instead, but maybe because of the utility from Skyly's, the Killjoy, she opted to go through A link instead. So, I mean, that's one way NWJ can break into a site, right? Aggressive, fast with Yamori, getting a flick upwards onto a Yumi. That was clean.
Yeah, nice option there, exercised by Scythe for sure. Maybe not big is their name anymore, but for certain, big plays coming on out from a player like Yamori here.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the team has to follow in her path. But RRQ, they're not going to be dissuaded from pulling that op out once more. They saw it be quite effective earlier on, trying to secure. Look at this. I love the smoke towards short. While it doesn't give you information on A long, it just kind of feigns out the attacking side if it ever does come there. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't though, as B is it's looking like we're going to commit.
Masky is here. I've seen this play before from a certain team called Boom Esports, and they're just working off of bits of futility. Still though, the spike goes down, not affected by any of those snake bites or nano swarms. So it comes down to how NWJ holds this post plan. A Yumi trying to get that control of the garage, whips her shot, and that's now numbers advantage to NWJ. Oh, it's sticking.
Deadly to try and use that up close. The spam? They stick it? They got it? What?
These parasites aren't going to take.
I didn't even recognize or notice that was happening.
I can't.
And yet somehow the defuse.
It happened again.
No way. No way.
What is happening, Black and Blue?
I cannot believe it.
They almost made it happen in pistol, and then NWJ had a good read against that. But then, but then,
I was still so focused on the garage fight, I didn't even realize they were about to full stick defuse it by that point.
Double controller.
There you see it, coming to full effect, and once more.
Oh, this is love.
Smoking out here, yeah, cheeky one way as well.
Placing swarm grenade.
And then also for Alika to sneak into the corner. Really controlling so much of the map early on. 2 shrouded steps spent, but that's okay. And NWJ still just trying to find that little bit of early map control. I mean, they're getting pushed back so much, but they are also burning down RQ's utility.
Look at the push here coming from Iceberg. Maybe could have found timing on Yamori, but
turrets there.
Hesitate instead.
Revealing area.
Site is where they're going to be going. Recon telegraphs that. I don't think she's going to get scanned at this corner. Yep, doesn't scan that corner. Allows Alika to do exactly that. TV back out to safety. Should have just used the shrouded step. barely gets out to safety.
All right, at least we got Yamori on site, though. Paranoia comes out. Best still landing a shot, and then another from Elga with the Phantom, a triple kill. Another one from Best, a flawless win for RRQ Kaguya.
Oh, that was so dangerous there. Alika almost taken on down from the bricks when Yamori swung her. Luckily able to get out to safety, but what a shot to be connected here as well on the site when it did come from Best. Double taps through the Radiant box. Connects as well for the third here, Alika. Shutting down the complete attack here of NWJ. That was just the two of them. Hunter, killer, wingman system they got going. It worked out beautifully.
Get out of my way.
I love it so much. It's like just setting themselves up for success with those plays, the dark cover. I thought perhaps with their utility being burnt away that they might be playing, you know, at a disadvantage, but just with sharp shooting, they make it happen again. And now, a bit of a similar plan for NWJ, but this time less resistance. They managed to make their way onto Scythe. Spike will be planted. It's the last round of the first half, and they have some ultimates to work with. NWJ might be able to turn this into 7-5.
Retake, come on in here. Frags so far going into Scythe's favor for the most part. Alika gets one at the end, but that round is done as quick as it started.
Switching sides.
NWJ. Okay, that's a round. At least to close out this first half and maybe bring things back in a second.
All right, and with that, I guess our panelists will come in to break down the first half for us. 7-5. Rafa and Rirachu, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Definitely the closest half that we've seen today. Scythe seeming to be playing very safe. Raph, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's very characteristic of Scythe to play that way. I feel like this has been a trait that's been with them since the first open we've seen them in. And honestly, I found it incredibly smart. For the first few rounds, they just outright ignore a lobby, which is pretty much patented by Kaguya to dominate, at least for our very own game changers, right? But as you can see, RRQ, they quickly adapt to it. NWJ can't really effectively freeze that defense reliably, especially on the gun rounds, despite how competitive it has been. But with Scythe prioritizing that safety, as we mentioned, I feel like stylistically, it's been working well, yes, but it's kind of allowing RRQ to do shenanigans such as kind of jumping out the windows and doing all these hyper-aggressive pushes. Naturally, it has been punished, but at the same time, I feel like they were kind of giving too much allowance on this defense to kind of go wild, especially on those retakes.
Yeah, a lot of things going for Scythe. Like, they've got good reads. They've been making the most out of their ecos. How do we feel this is going to go after the switch? Who's going to take map 1?
Oh boy. So the thing is about Scythe, they had the choice to kind of ignore A-Long here and just to not contest it as an attacker. This time around, RRQ's definitely going to keep hammering that down, and they're going to be hinging their defaults off of that. Question is, how passive is Scythe going to be when it comes to that specific part of the map?
All right, well, it's going to come down to that. We about to find out. Gentlemen, back over to you.
Well, questions raised for sure there by the panel and by us as well, but it will only be answered by continuing the second half because Scythe really do have a chance to turn things around here. When they get going, it looks spectacular, but their lows have been arguably a lot more frequent than RRQs have in that first half.
And it just makes RQ's composition look amazing when those plays happen. But you have to admit, yes, Scythe NWJ's strength right now is when they do go in aggressive and when they can actually land a lot of their shots and flicks. It's just, that's their recipe for success. And if we can repeat that, then it will work well. But now that we've swapped sides, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. How does this Viper play out? We've got the toxic screen kind of preemptively placed towards A in this very particular fashion.
I like this wall. It's gonna just drain information out of the defense here from Scythe. Knowing if they've actually pushed up far. Well, now they do. They confirm that. They can see them right in front of their face. Yamori connects onto one. The push is going to come on in. They have to pull onto Graffiti. The smoke for the defense will try and keep him alive. But look at the swing here from Alika, able to connect up close. A double for Alika! He's going insane on the site. They take the front part of it. That should allow them to plant, but Yamori still alive, still lurking. still waiting for an opportunity to strike. She's gonna find her moment. She connects on the double for Sky Elise at the end. And NWJ, they respond with a pistol.
This place is nice, but not
With
nice
that,
enough to
the
die
Sky
in.
falls and
Let's win and get
crashes
out of
onto RRQ. The pistols, they are going back and forth. And right now, in favor of Scythe NWJ. I mean, such an incredible play. First of all, yes, that toxic screen is a really impressive one that they know how to utilize. But when it comes down to it, you know, talking about that discussion from before Black and Blue, buying space versus confirming it. This time, it wasn't really confirmed because Yamori was that obstacle in between them and the site. She managed to find so many frags and still stayed alive till that final second. Next round.
She was the first point of contact and ended up being one of the last ones still. So, great resiliency there from Yamori.
She's up by 15 frags too.
Oh, lovely stuff. I mean, what do you expect from one of the hottest hands we've seen like throughout this year, really, as a duelist?
Okay, I guess we just walk into B and plant.
Yeah.
Spike
I mean,
planted.
they can do it to us, we can do it to them, I guess. RRQ here, B site is the option, it seems, on the retake.
And Aftershock gets spent as well, and it's all classics and sheriffs on the other side, so comes down to the smokes, they're trying to stick it, they're trying to spray through as well. Here comes Crescent, classic walking in, Best managing to take that initial shot, but when it comes down to it still, the automatic weapons will be able to fend them off. Oreophilia with a double at the end, 7-7 now.
My shadows, they will hide you.
The automatic weapons. I was checking them down.
What do you sound like, Bane?
For sure. It's supposed to be a Tom Hardy Bane. Alright. We'll keep it in. I mean, at least they got the plant down. At least they got it going. And RQ here. Off to the races now. And hold on to this lead. Obviously, things have been tied on up. Bonus for Scythe. I'm sure they're going to be able to cut this one on up. That Viper wall once more placed here, which really has two effects, right? Aside from faking and conditioning, also cuts that C link rather than that A link, which typically you'd see a breach playing that spot for Crescent. So that just cuts even more information now from a very commonly played position.
And now it's just so cool as well. I mean, that Snakebite lineup in towards B cubby, and they're trying to poke in towards garage. C site, you know, it's that half buy from the previous round. I like how they're smoking this off and allowing for Sky Elise to play around it with a ghost, though.
Here.
Alright. RQ are sneaking in.
Yeah, just buying their time. Sky Elise here.
Uh-oh.
Trigger discipline, nicely done. Connects on the second for Scythe, who has just sharp here on the deep spec. Third this time falls in RQ's favor. The damage has been done. Scan confirms position on the site.
Spike planted.
Now they have a retake on their hands.
Alright, Yamori still has her tailwind, so she could just tap one and then back off, make it an even fight. But look at the positioning from RRQ. Off angle being held, and Napsky just makes it a nasty spray down along with Alka to support. It's 8-7. We fight back.
On here from RRQ. Look at Alka. She's at 18 frags already. And the next one on her team's at 9. And as an omen,
As an omen.
at times, yeah, you'd think a controller can't really die, but when you got two of them,
Oh, yeah.
two of them,
When you got two.
you can let the other loose, and that exactly happening here.
It is working wonders, Black and Blue. And that's the thing about this squad as well. When Alka is firing off, she is firing off, and the whole team kind of does well as a result. Now on to the next round, and we are making use of that toxic screen from the shadows into the top of heaven as well. And oh no, the paranoia! Although it connected, still near sight, Lin does not care.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-on-4 now. Look at that.
Near the blind, never forget. That could have
Spike
been
planted.
very important for securing this explosive in control. It's not getting obviously the line up time turret.
I've got your track.
Guy on anyways, that's big. Gonna take out a lot of stall pressure on the self. The retake on in here, Quack, but shot.
One enemy remaining.
Eyes burns in on the fight. It's all on the
Sky.
Aw, thought you'd try harder.
And that's one way to fire off against your ex-teammate as well, or Ophelia, having used to play with Ayumi as well as Iceberg. But it just comes down to pure positioning as well as gunplay on the site. Despite having lost, you know, early extremities with Alka and From the Shadows, maybe a bit of a flank hold, on the site itself with the Bulldogs, they still managed to make it work, and that is that RRQ Kaguya experience. Sheriffs now. Okay.
conditions. Scythe. Obviously, they got the lot here in the Hunter's Fury, but I don't wager that's going to come out in this round unless they got some picks away, which seems to not be the case. Everybody chiming on in. Now, all they need is for Ayumi to get a kill, and you got teammates on your hands.
Come on, Ayumi. This is your moment. She's kind of letting her teammates. She's watching for A in case Lid pushes out, but
Team player.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Got the recon back online. Could toss that into mid. But it's just too darn difficult. So many targets right in front of her. All right.
Standing ahead.
Still spots out the targets, but you know, we were all holding our breath for that moment. RRQ. Just sharp shooting at its peak, and they've managed to gun down every single opponent from Scythe NWJ.
It wasn't really the most fair of fights. I believe a tactical timeout now called. Talk things over for sure. Definitely not out of reach just yet. Only the 3. That's one big swing. Op now out for Yamori. But with this kind of, once more, comp that they've got, right? It's going to make things so that RRQ, they're going to want to kind of really wrestle control away slowly here. And the thing is, NWJ, they have to be willing to give that up and play these trap setups. You have Paranoia combined with the fault line. You have many ways to kind of lure RRQ in, who are, once more, as they play that double controller, wanting to confirm space taken already over buying space out initially with their util. And if they let them in and then pounce, that's when we've seen the best out of NWJ come out, and that's where we're going to need to see them continue once more.
That's right. I mean, again, we've got some tools at our disposal. We've got that operator, and we can deny some space as well. So it's just always interesting to see how both teams clash into each other. I mean, I really want to see how they can make use of that toxic screen again, though. I mean, not only is it confirming space like what you're mentioning, you have that secondary omen, and look at what Alka's doing right now, peeking with the shrouded step. That's one way to gather info.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
Definitely for sure. Lovely stuff so far.
Huh.
NWJ though, off the timeout. What can they do? Try and really halt this on in. The fault line, it better be thrown towards the right direction. B-side is where it comes. They'll be able to capitalize off of that. You can see that the toxic screen obviously being a problem there, just cutting it off. Oh.
And it's a Hunter's Fury too. Well, it does block off a little bit. Now the spike. Oh! What a shot from Crescent. And that's another one due to the aftershock as well. The lockdown coming into play all the way from A short, or sewer if you want to call it that. Best now coming back in with the guiding light just to try and hold, but she gets detained. Navsky's the only other player, but she's so far back and has to come back in to deny the defuse, but Crescent has her number and dials it. It's going to be RRQ Kaguya trying to make it happen, but NWJ off of that timeout. Such a great counterplay.
And once more, exactly what happens. Lure them in, let them in. They have those smokes. Time it right on when you pounce, because once those smokes go down, that's half of the util already. That's what they're banking on, confirming the space. But it's only for a momentary time. And once that lapses, you can see there that they've got more than enough to re-hit. It's about initiating contact, pulling back, and then counter-punching. Has to be the game plan here from NWJ on this defense.
Counter-punching, I like that. Just kind of like luring your opponents into leaving themselves open, right?
Yeah.
And what's really nice, you know, you mentioned that they still have more NWJ. Crescent still has her Rolling Thunder. They could go for a similar play in this round if they play their cards right. I mean, the positioning has to be pristine. But right now, oh, Viper's Pit set up into B. And RRQ are trying to distract NWJ from their current positions. Does a bunch though, and that's the first shot sounded off. Swaps over onto Classic, goes off for a duel against a Yuumi, and it's gonna be her teammate that bails her out instead. Trades come through though, and Iceberg pushes past her Viper's Pit, coming in with a flank of her own. Oreophilia flushed out of position now. Can't quite land her shots. It's gonna be Natsuki who takes her down, and we're into a 2-on-3. An attacking lockdown just to secure the spike plant. Skylease tries to fire off instead, but does not quite make it happen. Is this possible, Black and Blue? Can Lin make it happen?
Definitely so. I mean, we saw big stuff from Lin a while ago in the 1v5, but oh no, timing doesn't work out in her favor. Navsky actually could have swung off of this, but is actually waiting, which, while might not secure the round immediately, should end up with the same end result here. One-way smoke, spam on through, easy kill, and RRQ on path to continuing forward.
That is that next level coordination. I mean, Navsky, such a play. Smart to wrap back around of Garage, knowing that it was a 1-on-2 and she would have a little bit more space, a little bit more time to work with. And although it was a great attempt for Lin, you know, unfortunately wasn't meant to be. It's 11-8 right now, Black and Blue. And I hate to say it, but a very, very potential match point coming out in this very moment.
Unfortunately here, it's looking very true, Quack. RRQ completely bulldozing their way into the site. That's a Yuumi taking Yamori down. Oreophilia gets a double somehow. Skylease as well. Scythe putting up a bigger fight than one initially would have expected. Navsky 1v3 for her. Timing here doesn't get the spam going her way. Caught with a vulnerable off the alarm bot. And NWJ somehow have bought themselves a chance.
Enemy mark.
This is amazing. Oh, Navsky's still alive. Lands on her feet, able to take collect on one more, but Skylease with that stinger up close and personal just gives her a nice loving hug. We're down to 11-9, and that was a round that should have been RRQ Kaguya's. But impressive classic shots and stinger plays coming out of this squad, and they keep their dream alive.
As a great man once said, should is different.
One enemy remaining.
They didn't commit. They didn't convert. But that leaves now Scythe here with a chance for sure. Great shutdown. And once again, they win a round where they're able to lure them on into the trap. C long, immediate fight, but it's actually best who gets the better of them. Rolling Thunder to try and counteract, but nobody there to really pounce off of that pressure.
And that's a great, well, okay, I thought the snakebite was, nah. Iceberg just keeping her teammates alive, just trying to fend her opponents off with that snakebite. So now we've come back to a brief moment of respite, and it's 5-on-4. NWJ still trying to defend.
I've got your trail.
Cloud's gonna allow them to get closer. Seeker is on out. Yuumi capitalizes off of that information, forcing presence out into the open. RRQ once more. Yuumi, another for her. That's a double now. This might be a time to save on up because the rest of Scythe don't necessarily have economy to buy. They can drop both Skylease and Lin, so maybe fish for a pick, but that's all you can really hope for in this case. Give it on up, play them at point.
Turret out.
I'm almost scared to go for picks at this moment. Okay, that Oh,
That's it.
Are we going?
Give it up.
Yeah, give it up.
You
Back
got
up, back up.
Give it up.
Lynn.
Give it up. Run. Lynn.
Stop.
Guys, you need money. There's no point in going for this. I just don't want to take him on down. But unfortunately, they're the ones taking on down. They could have dropped Crescents. Yamori should have enough to buy up
Actually,
anyways,
yeah, I
but
think everyone could.
no. See, Presence is poor, or your Ophelia is gonna have half armor. That's what I was worried about here.
Oh no. Not the best odds, but still a chance.
I mean, never say never until it's done. But
Right.
Scythe certainly could have increased their chances coming into this. It's been a back and forth for the past few rounds, but RRQ. Let's see if they can close this out now.
Ayumi has been coming online. And if I were a betting man, I'd put my money on her. I mean, she's making it happen. And now, that same toxic screen, again, coming into effect. Yamori's trying to play off of it, trying to be careful. The curtain's fallen, and because it's such high pressure, NWJ backs off and opts to play it safe instead. Alright.
There's going to be an execute on the site, though. You can see that.
Should be setting up.
NWJ. They have lots on this site, but I would argue that Presence should be a bit further back. They're kind of trapped here. Now she's not going to be in position to throw out her utility. Now they're going to get overwhelmed. You can see Ayumi, though, gets the one. Luckily, the gunfights are still going Scythe's way. It's a lot less heavy of a push than I would have expected to come from RRQ, to be honest, but it will allow them to secure the plant on C.
Ooh.
Managed
Managed to get that Skylease, yes, on a bit of a lurk. 2 kills into her bag. And an unsuspecting Elika going in to check. And manages to take her down, but 3 players stampeding forward now. Shrouded step to displace herself. And she's still trying to keep herself alive. That said, though, the Bulldogs will be able to spray her down, black and blue. And we're off to a 12 and 10.
Change of plans.
Fortunately enough there to get them around back in return. I still do think that, you know, in that position there, you kind of need your breach to be a bit safer. So you can fight with the utility off the fault line, off the flashes. That really just came down to them winning those fights. Pure gunplay at the end of things there on towards that site on A, yeah. And luckily enough, they're able to hit their shots, because otherwise, more times than not, that should have been RQ's round. Or at least site on A.
Gotta watch out for RQ's executes. They're setting up for it again. This time Ayumi going for blades though. So NWJ gonna have to respect that. Ooh, the updraft. Just one is enough to take down Lin.
Well, that still works. Fortunately. Even with a single one.
Dude, and off of that they are going elsewhere.
Oh, timing as well. Forcing a reaction there after the Trailblazer, and C site is theirs. This could be where they close it out quick.
It's the battle of the Indonesian teams, and RRQ Kaguya are coming out on top. 5 on 3. Can NWJ come back into the game? Ayumi is shutting down that very dream, dashing those hopes away. Crescent's not gonna back down without at least a bit of a fight though. But look at the positioning. Iceberg Paranoia goes in for the spray. A second one going in, and they close this out.
Not even a modicum of a chance. No piece of hope given there at the end. Is simply put enough. They close it out real quick. So map number 1, good fight at the early stages of things. In the second half, kind of slipped a bit. Although I do think that there was definitely a chance there for Scythe to kind of take some rounds that ultimately should have been theirs. And who knows how this could have gone if they take map number 1, especially when you're the underdog. Taking that first map is huge.
It is so close, but at the very least, it does inspire confidence, and it's so many signs of life. We can see how Yamori is popping off as well. Hopefully they can give us a similar performance in map 2, which would be split. But for now, let's listen to what our panelists have to say. Raph and RRQ, take it away.
Both teams playing Dosido. Props to Scythe for fighting tooth and nail, but when the music stopped, it was RRQ on top.
That's true. I don't know what reference that is, what type of music you're listening to, but okay, you know what I mean? But, you know, just to highlight the strength of RRQ, in all honesty, they really played a very, very fundamental attacking side condition, see where the defense is going to be quite tender, and just kind of win out the gunfights from there. I believe it was like the last 5 rounds where they just kind of decided we're going to keep brute forcing C. If there's no resistance or if they can't match the energy of these hits, then it's going to be a Scythe problem. But as our caster said, that was almost a statement game for Scythe, because this is, after all, still a very RRQ map. For them to kind of open up RRQ and show a little bit of anti-stratting on their end could have been great, but the series is still quite long. Split, I'm very, very curious about, but RRQ did pick that map up, so they might have something else up their sleeve.
Definitely. I mean, we were saying when we saw the map Vita, right? That map 1 was the one that RRQ really did have to squeak that win out. And here are your MVPs for the map 1. It is Scythe on the Killjoy with that 2017 and 239 ACS for NWJ. But Aluka, star of the show right there, 23 and 14. Black and Blue just could not stop highlighting her and talking about just how good she was this game.
Yeah, Aluka really maximized the fact that, yes, there are 2 controllers, so she's going to have a little bit more leeway into being that much more aggressive and just, again, getting information and getting as much value as she can aside from her fragging. Very, very close game statistically, but again, RRQ winning it out with experience and just a little bit of brute force here and there.
Yeah, I think the post-plant statistics are really interesting here as well. It's 5-7 for Scythe and 6 out of 9 for RRQ, and it just really just highlights how good both these teams are at the post-plant, right? Especially on a map such as Haven, where you kind of end up going to post-plant a lot because the map's so big, and you're like, okay, we're gonna retake together on this one. But like the numbers just show that both these teams have a lot of practice, have those plans, and are able to execute those post-plant retakes very well. Yep. Aluka. No surprise at all. 33.8% headshot percentage as well, close to 200 damage per round. And yeah, she definitely showed up really big for her team. And I think that's like what part of what you were saying earlier, right? About how RRQ in this map number 1 look like they're just kind of strong arming everything, just, you know, pound for pound, just skill diffing at some points of the map. And yeah, looking forward to that map number 2. I think Split's gonna be interesting. I think the whole series is gonna be interesting. This is the one, fingers crossed, where we will see a map 3.
Potentially, right? And I feel like something that Scythe have to even out is just there are so many smaller decisions that could have potentially led to an extra gun round, that could have led to a round win, but again, it's just one of those things where you can't necessarily harp on too much because it happened during the heat of the moment. For example, I think it was Lin and another player, I think it was Oreophilia, trying to force a 2v5, trying to damage the economy of a very, very strong RQ already, instead of going for the save and confirming 2 Vandals for the next round. But again, we have to let that go because we are going to be jumping into the second map very, very soon, Richu.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things going on for Scythe, right? They've got a lot of creative ideas. They won the pistol and the bonus in the second half. Great timeout usage at the 10-7 as well. But RRQ just managing to steal that map number 1. Guys, there's going to be at least one more map. Before we see if Scythe can make the comeback happen, we're going to go for a short break.
what you got. Back up, back up, back up, back what you got. Show me what you got. Down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God, down, up, back, God. Ain't no reason to back down, so step it up. God, down, up, back, up, God, down, up, back, God.
Hello and welcome back to what might be the very last map of the day, but not if Scythe have anything to say about that one first. And what a back and forth nail biter of a map number one, and we're kind of expecting more for this map number two.
Absolutely, and I feel like it's such a change in how to approach the map because Haven can be very freestyle, it's very open. Whereas Split has been, I guess, still developing into that type of map. It used to be incredibly defender-sided. Now it's still defender-sided, but with a little more leeway. To see, the thing is, it's just a slightly less defender-sided. A lot of the teams have figured out how to attack, but I still feel like the executes on Split are just stricter in comparison to a map like Haven, where you can rely on that singular operator pick, so on and so forth. But Split, I don't even think operators are a very good pick here. We have a few outliers, but it's not very reliable, like in the grand scheme of things. It's so dangerous.
I love also that Split this time around is RRQ's map pick, and it's just so interesting because for the map 3 bind pick, how that happened was that RRQ, they last banned Ascent, and RRQ actually are pretty darn comfortable on Ascent. So they banned Ascent to play bind that they've actually only played twice, and that's because Ascent is Scythe's most played map. And like, I just love how there were all these mind games going on. Hey, that's not Manju.
It's Mochi. Mochi is here to visit. You know, the rarer appearance between the two. The fluffier sister. Look at her. She's so fluffy.
So you've got like M&Ms for dogs?
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
With M, you've got Manju and Mochi.
Because we have Mochi Bing and Manju Bean, you know, because that's how they are. That's how they are. That's right, Mochi. Mochi is I think she's a little less active, you know, in comparison to Manju. She's the sentinel.
I feel like her face is just like, please get me off broadcast.
This is how she always is. She's always like chilling. She's a sentinel, whereas Manju's a bit more like a duelist. She's always running around the house. Mochi just kind of like sits down in one area and she vibes like this, you know, she's vibing. But I feel like she's not as hypoallergenic because right now, like, it's irritating my nose just a little bit. But I still love you. I'm still gonna do this. Mwah. And
so we had Manju's predictions just now. What are Mochi's predictions for map 2?
Mochips, I have to ask you what your predictions are, baby. Wait, hang on. kind of get into a comfy position because she's considerably
my
heavier.
God.
So I think she's gonna go for. Is that a 2-0? I think she's gonna go for a 2-0. I think that's what her face is telling me right now. She's back on my lap and she's chilling. And I think, you know, it would be of the best interest for Full Sense to get this out of the way as quickly as possible, because it does look like Scythe have been adapting to the type of plays that Full Sense have been, RRQ, sorry, have been employing, which is a lot of aggression, a lot of earlier fights. And hopefully on the side of Scythe too is that they don't throw those ults without the follow-up, because there's so many moments where an ult was being thrown but there was nothing to capitalize on it. There was no duelist behind it. There was just no bodies to really run it in, and that kind of gave RRQ the space to reset and reassess what they could do in that moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think that in map number 1, there were a lot of opportunities for Scythe to pick up a couple more rounds here and there. Just towards the end of the round, they just weren't able to fully close that out and get those little points, and it does add up because the score was just so close at the end. I really do hope, you know, if we're looking for that map 3, that they figure it out on this map number 2. But I just can't wait to see what RRQ are cooking up on Split, because just like Bind, they've also only played Split in playoffs twice this year, but yet they've decided to pick this on that map too. So are they going to be able to 2-0 this series, or is that going to be like a little mistake for them? Will this end up going to that map 3? And agent select, I think pretty standard. What are your thoughts, Raph?
Yeah, pretty standard. I feel like Cypher might be the more classical pick for Kaguya here, as that double cage default towards A is definitely going to be something that Scythe will worry about. But with the Killjoy in hand for Scythe, they definitely have that initiation power and just have a little bit more strength during the post plant. The question is RRQ going to send Nabsky out to lurk and kind of maximize the kit for Cypher to get that neural theft going, so on and so forth? And with the operator being a little less than favorable on this map, are we going to see Yamori or Sky Elise pick it up?
Yeah, what's also going to be interesting is that Scythe are running the double duelist with the Raze as well as the Jet, but yet they are starting on defense this time around because RRQ got the map pick, and then I think Scythe decided to start on the defense of the double duelist. So maybe that comes into play. Maybe we see a bit of a momentum thing going on in the first half of this map number 2, but enough from us. We're about to hand it back over to the 2 lovely casters for this map 2. Black and Blue, back to you.
One would be short-sighted to count out Scythe yet this early as we come in this Split, especially a map that we haven't really seen too much so far from RRQ, and it's very interesting what they pull up. I think comp-wise on either side, double duelist here on the Scythe, and then RRQ's got a lot of lurk potential with that double controller plus the Cypher.
And that's something that they've been doing, like what we saw in map 1, right? And it works out so well, but this is a different map after all. And the last time these teams have played on this map has really been quite a while ago, like since Open 1. And things have changed up so much since then. This is also a completely new and upgraded RRQ Kaguya now. I mean, they just showed us their best performance in Open 3. They showed us an incredible performance on Haven. And now going into this, still with such an interesting agent composition, I can only hope that NWJ with their double duelists really show up on the board with incredible firepower right now. Because if that doesn't happen, it might be time to go into the lower bracket.
What I'm worried about here for NWJ is that RRQ, they have so much defaulting lurk potential, which Raft already talked about a while ago. Not just the Cypher, but the Viper is going to help that case on out. They can call the wall up and down. Obviously, the smokes as well from Bess. But let's see how NWJ performs. Split a map much more, I guess, accustomed to their favor than Haven might have been. And we continue on here, the series on the second with RRQ looking to go towards B.
We do have NWJ already pushing out of A though, and with the Trailblazer to boot, so they can call it clear and they're confident. They know it's going to be a B hit. Still though, a Yumi just walks in with a frenzy. Simple shots and Orphelia trades right back. A guiding light just to buy a little bit more time, and we top ourselves off with the regrowth, the heals.
I need healing. he says.
Nice.
In this case, pick off here on Crescent's. Iceberg looking to push ever forward, even deeper. 2v3, that cage just confirms where the last two are going to be coming on from. They can hear the footsteps. Double duelist trying to barrel their way on in, but Sky Elise, the ground is where she's going to be set. It's all on the Amori, who doesn't have a worry here. It's a 1v3, should not favor her. They know where she is. She's trapped in a corner, gets the one though. The spike still out of her reach. It's in a great post-plant position here for Alika to jiggle. And ultimately enough, too much time has been burnt. The round is done. And that's the one for RRQ.
Incredibly impressive. I mean, first of all, Yamori still kind of going for those flicks. I really applaud that. But at the end of everything, it's just RRQ Kaguya in the sense they have to go in aggressive. First of all, Ayumi opening things up with a frenzy, and then the rest of the squad continuing to push past in towards defender spawn. I think that's something that NWJ really didn't expect because they were just, you know, topping each other off with the heals from Crescents, and that's where things really start to fall apart. So now we've got some Spectres, some Stingers, and Bulldogs in our hands. RQ looking to collect on that second win.
Look at this. Aggressive push.
Okay.
Or just a push in general. A slow crawl up more than anything here. Towards that mid. Then release. You're going to clear out this ramen first, which should let them know A site is where it will be. Bit of a gamble. Obviously one that isn't entirely a bad idea, especially in a round like this on the second, but just did not pick their side right, so.
We just swapped sides.
Yeah. Retake.
And yeah. A very difficult one, if I'm being honest. Ooh, Natsuki hears them. She's calling it to her team as well. We do have Crescents kind of sneaking up onto ropes. Waiting for that opportune moment. She finally comes up and takes down Iceberg, but then the trades come in. A good bit of economical damage, but still, everything going right for RRQ. They managed to hold on to most of their weapons, and alright, that's round 2.
Teleport, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I lose you.
Done. We go to the third.
That makes sense.
I don't know what there really is to talk about there. I mean, obviously, they took a bit of a gamble. Didn't work out in their favor. They did what they could towards that main, and that's all she wrote. So we go on over to the third. This is the real round to talk about. NWJ here on this defense. With that double duelist, a lot less ways to re-hit and gather information as opposed to maybe a double initiator comp. These defaults are going to wreak havoc, I think. Yumi's kind of made her presence known here on the Telegraph. I'm surprised she doesn't confirm the kill there, but a great swing out there from Sky Elise to really keep Presence alive still.
And then that's just kind of how they come back into the game to regain control over it. Playing that defense. RQ trying to re-aggress, of course, but now shut down by Yamori. Napsky eliminates any other potential factors. RQ's only option is to walk into the site now, and they'll be able to stick the plant, but can they fend off 5 players hounding them down?
I think Oriophilia knows about that hell position there for Bess. So retake to come on in, 3v5 as he mentioned, not the best weapons to work with, and Alika already low, a single sneeze away from death. Obviously the ramp position here is already over-flooded, overwhelmed, and not a single chance in hell for Bess. Get it? Because she was in hell, yes?
Yes. okay, Black and Blue. I see what you're doing. And it's great. I mean, again, 1-2, NWJ, a great way to put up a wall against RQ Kaguya. I mean, starting things off with that ramp control and peeking off of it as well. Teammates coming in to support each other. And now, not only have they gotten a round win, we have Yamori looking to make a judge play.
Well, jury's still out in that, if it's going to be as effective, but obviously in the defense you can kind of pick and choose your fights a bit more here. No Sage, so nothing to really stall them here towards mid, which is going to be the problem. RQ have so much more to work with, and there you can see it. Ayumi just barrels her way down into Mail. Now they don't have heavy control, but that's not what they're banking on here. Good pick up from Sky Elise, dashes the other way, could have gone back into the vent, but alas, it trades out equally. 1 for 1.
And now we have some rifles on the floor.
On the 1-for-1 Quack, this typically does favor the attacking side though, because now your defense is split. You don't have as much to commit per site.
Couldn't agree more. That's why we see Lin backing up into a safer position rather than holding ramps. NWJ just looking to get that information, that confirmation, before they finally rotate over. But all this takes time. Oh, okay. Right. Nanoswarm will buy a little bit of time as well, and Lin doing her job. But here comes RRQ swarming into sight.
Just a hair bit more. I'm not sure if they're going to expect where Bess is here. Ayumi is a great position to try and play off of this, to swing a double for her. Ayumi's completely wreaked havoc here towards that heaven. And Bess was obviously in a great spot to swing out as well and confirm that kill if Ayumi only went for the one. They know one's towards the elbow, another to the knee, but to the head it goes and she connects. Bess, quick and easy. 3 and 1 for RRQ.
That is the anatomy of an entire firefight and the site. RRQ just knowing exactly how to find that scalp, that head. Yumi starting things off, and then Bess with the movement, along with the flicks, to close it out. It's 3 to 1 now, and a little bit tough for NWJ to come back from.
Not sure if that was the best reaction there from Crescents. Maybe the information wasn't given earlier, just didn't realize how up close Bess was already. And there's just so much potential for the lurk that you're already seeing here in the opening 4 rounds that we've seen. Constantly just keeping NWJ guessing on where they could be going, where the commit is. They can't rotate early, they can't really stop the push immediately. And so kind of just getting the fights going their way is most of what this composition is built around.
Alright, well. We saw this before. Oh, here it comes. It's the judge.
It's lovely stuff from Lin for sure. Paranoia obviously pushes her back, and Sky Elise is taken on down. Ayumi, she could end this whole round right here. The turret isn't even looking her way, but Crescent's great shutdown. She's low HP, but it's still a 2v4.
Viper's pit us up as well.
There's a Paranoia. Where is it? They should be throwing it at this point with the paint shells. They still get the one. Yamori connects at the end, so... Okay, Scythe with an eco of all things to come back Quack.
And it starts with that nasty, nasty judge from Lin. I mean, she didn't even have like a lot of mobility or anything. She just waited for the right moment and then suddenly pushed out, making use of her opponent's toxic screen against them. That is unbelievable. Apart from that, I could see like maybe you don't want to throw out that Paranoia because it might give your position away, or you might be stuck in the animation. But that said, still, you're being Valoranted at that point. The paint shells, the flashes, everything was tossed at you. And unfortunately, it's an NWJ round because they just played that so incredibly well. And this is something that brings them back into the game in full.
The timing of Lin there was perfect too, because literally Nabsky was about to place down a tripwire, and so in the action of doing so, she found one. Yumi finds hers at least to start things off. That's Raze for Raze. Showstopper at least is available as well here on the counterpoint, and as Lin gets another pick, she has been really a linchpin of their defense to this opening half.
Incredible anchor. But then you've got a Yumi who might be able to shut that down. I saved that. Sky Elise just peeks out from ramp at the right time. Lin sprays it through as well. 3 kills under her belt, and that is now down to Bess in a 1-on-3. The timing of this is just so good.
Oh, they don't check it.
Okay.
You could actually kind of get one up on them. They're both kind of expecting her to be within the site, but doesn't go with the advantage given. Not sure what the plan is here. Maybe just go straight onto the site, smoking out that mid, but nobody's actually there for them to hear that smoke go down and fake out.
Still manages to sneak onto Scythe though. But that's exactly Scythe NWJ's game plan. They got 3 players. Why throw that numbers advantage away?
Spike planted.
I mean, obviously in this case, they got the regrowth back up on Lin, so They're all in full fighting capacity for the most part. Paranoia on out. Nobody connecting from that. You can see the anticipation there from Lin to expect it. Low HP now in best. TPs back onto the default. Could maybe connect the shot, but it doesn't come as Oreophilia a bit more lighter on the touch. And Scythe have tied up the game.
My ultimate is ready.
Starting things off with the judge play, and then now back into it. Just that incredible, impeccable timing. With Scythe peeking out and then Lin to play off of it at the same time. It's this exact moment where you can see RRQ Kaguya's hope of cementing their momentum really go downhill. And because of that, now they're trying to find their way back on top off of this timeout. However, what they don't know, Black and Blue, is that Yamori might be going for an up play this time.
Not even Scythe, not even the Jet. Yamori in this case. Curious, although she has been at the helm of that in the past. But as a Raze, you'd expect them to be in a bit of a different position than an op might typically. Obviously, there's blades here on Scythe for her to utilize, and I can make a case for the differing idea. But hey, Ayumi's got her showstopper. I mean, so does Yamori, but sometimes it can really be what breaks this defense to try and get them within that site. And NWJ, while they've been able to recuperate these rounds, when RRQ's plans do work, when that default does get set into place, and considering it was already working early in the half, it should be even more effective later on. When that starts working, that's where you could see the problems of NWJ's really comp here, at least in comparison to RRQ's, in direct comparison, come into effect. But let's see how this garage fight on B works out. It doesn't.
It does not. She's down to 5 HP, Black and Blue. Repositions though, so this is not a terrible angle.
To be fair, as a low HP player, it does make more sense for you to have the op now, but I mean, regrowth will help her on out. No armor.
Okay.
Look at mid here.
That's just gonna hold garage. There is that showstopper. Catches the bottom of Skylisa's feet, and Ayumi still sharp for yet another. The paint shells will somehow hit onto Iceberg though. Now timing has to be right for it. Oreophilia doesn't bother. Still manages to take down the first target. Onto the next. Ayumi now online for the ace. Quad kill as she drops down off of Raptors. Lin tries to fight back and manages to clap off Ayumi's head. Down to the one-on-one.
1v1. You know she's on towards the heaven, but she sends him back down from hell, from whence she came. She shall not remain. 4-3 here, RRQ. Barely take the lead at the end, but valiant effort there for Lin, who has once more been their standout player here on the opening defensive half.
Yeah, and it just comes down to those crucial 1v1s again. I mean, first of all, kudos to Ayumi, because these are incredible plays that keep on happening. And then off of that, it becomes a bit of a guessing game, right? Because this entire site is open and you've got so many angles that you need to kind of isolate. And when you're up on top of Raptors like that, Aluka can do exactly what she just did, just wrapping around the other side of the pillar, catching her opponent by surprise. So back into it now. It's a bit of a default hold. Natsuki to lurk outside of A, and we're making use of the Toxic Screen as well as that bit of a Poison Cloud to try to gain mid control.
Kind of giving up this heaven as well. They know they're going to have to play off of a kind of like a flash contact play here. If they do come towards that heaven, they don't really have much to stop things from barreling down their way when it does come. Showstopper available for Yamori though, so if the pressure does get high here towards his B side, she can pop that and maybe kind of slow down the pace of the opposition in just a bit. Seeker's out, can confirm one there towards that backside, but perfect paranoia plus counter flash. Showstopper out available. A double for Yamori! Doesn't need to see you to kill you! And Sky Elise can get a third!
That would just be exceptional, explosive utility usage coming out from both these players. You gotta love Oreophilia and her positioning on the other side of the pillar just to send that paranoia. The dark covers as well are great. But here it comes. We're gonna strike back right now. In this instant, Elka's trying to push through. But unfortunately, the Empire will shut her down instead. It's 4-4. And NWJ keep themselves afloat.
Yeah, they were way too ready for that. And Showstopper perfectly placed here from Yamori on that back site. But what really enabled that here was the counter paranoia thrown by Oreophilia. Kept them in place, kept them still towards that choke, and just buying enough time for Yamori to make the right decision at the right time.
That puts us at that crucial 4-4. A very potential 5-4, given how RQ's economy looks. They are attacking after all, and NWJ has so many ultimates at their disposal.
Obviously, a bit of a thrifty round for RRQ, but Ayumi gets things going, starting off with that pick.
Oh my god.
Actually, they do have the regrowth, so she can get back up to speed here, although might want to give it to somebody with a bit more armor to play with.
I'm a little bit nervous now, Black and Blue.
We've seen thrifty rounds be converted in the past. Not going to be a great one to have go up against him here, NWJ. Paint shell for paint shell, nade for nade. Life gives you... Yeah, it was a paranoia. It doesn't connect though.
Okay. Ooh. Here comes Yamori with a spray down of her own. 3 heads gone, and then Iceberg to find 1, but not for long because Lynn comes up from behind. All right, not so nervous anymore, Black and Blue.
Yeah, that was at least nicely done in terms of kind of giving up that space. You fight that, you can test that there where she was. That could have definitely been her going down without really finding much. She simply multiple peeked them when they were still coming on in. Instead, kind of lets them separate for a bit to isolate the fight. Lets Ayumi kind of get ahead on towards the rafter so that she can focus on the task at hand instead. And it's NWJ here with the lead. Sky Elise obviously as well gets him going here early in the 10th.
That's a great way to make use of the tailwind as well. RQ now tapping the pause button for a second. This one dark cover really keeps them guessing of what could be on the other side after all. Toxic screen to play with as well as it comes back up. They're looking for that opening into the site. They're gonna sneak through because of the cyber cage, but look at Sky Elise, what a shot!
Screen down.
Just knows the timing. Full read from her. Alka connects, so obviously they're towards the ram. So you know Sky Elise is within the site, but Crescent's chiming in on the fight and right opportune moment, dropping down here towards the hell, and Alka will take her down. Still, the 2v3. Spike in their hands for sure, but they're going to go for the ramp option here. Yamori's in a great spot to just make sure that that doesn't come too easy. They know they're in towards heaven, and with the paranoia connecting on here, this could be where they kind of capitalize on it, but they're actually going to go for a wraparound, and RRQ are giving up a lot. They do not want to fall prey to this double position that they got on here. Sky Elise, they have to know she's in here. They take her down. Now they have a real chance for the plant.
Onto the 2-on-2.
Planted.
Neither side has a lot of utility. So this is very, very doable for RRQ. Apart from the fact that Elka might be low HP, and you're never quite sure where NWJ are coming from, so the timing of their coordinated push has to be pristine, but oh, just a little bit too early. Yamori gets cleaned off instead. It's down to Oreophilia. And it looks nigh impossible.
Yeah, find some way to twist it, lick it, and dunk it at the end. Oreophilia here. Not being given the opportunity to do so. Alaka's very low, though. Takes her on down, but the round is pretty much done for the count. No more time left anyways. And Iceberg secures it, so RRQ keeping it close. And you're doing okay for the most part here in the attack.
Certainly impressive with that little mid-round adaptation, I might say. I mean, I love that idea to sort of wrap around. The fact that they pushed outside of a heaven discouraged Oreophilia from staying around that site. She actually backed off to about defender spawn because of it. With that, RRQ turns things around. We're on to round 11, and we've got so many ultimates online right now, Black and Blue.
Great decision making there at the end. Definitely so for RRQ, but as you said, so many ultimates to throw on out, and that is a great equalizer here. No matter the odds, an ult can turn things around sometimes. Especially that big showstopper looming on Ayumi, who gets tagged up quite a bit. Showstopper on out. Gonna flush him out of the site here. Doesn't connect actually on a Sky Elise, who takes her on down and gets away with a theft.
And she's getting healed up as well, Sky Elise. Now goes back in for that double dip. Seekers confirmed positioning as well, and here comes Alaka trying to hold them back. It's two players though, so the pop flash is not quite gonna work. It's gonna be Sky Elise landing yet another blade. Two more in fact. But here comes RRQ as well. Not before long, that lockdown keeps them away, so they manage to stick it to half, and Iceberg can't quite land the perfect angle, the sight line into the spray. Crescents brings her back down instead. NWJ now
Last
back in
round
the
in the
lead.
half.
It's 6-5. Can we make it a 7-5?
It's very possible. Especially with Scythe finally kind of, I guess, finding their groove here. Especially on this defensive side, 7-5 would definitely benefit their cause coming into the second. And RRQ with a light buy. Now, I don't want to say that they have an advantage here for NWJ, because we've seen RRQ almost convert these type of rounds quite more often than not, even with less in their hands.
Very true.
So, thrifty only a suggestion for them, not a real state. It's all in the mental, they say.
All in the mental. And right now, RRQ are just trying to play around with that as well. But look at how NWJ are just trying to hold them off too. A dark cover up around mid. It expires though.
Here.
And all of a sudden we have a little bit more room to work with. RRQ just walking past everything. All we've got to bank on are Lynn's utility on A.
We haven't really seen them kind of pinch here towards the vent into A. But the alarm bot has always been a looming kind of present obstacle there. In this case, so much being thrown. She's trapped, she's dead. Sky Elise, no way! No chance in hell to try and escape that. Lynn going for a third one. Anchor Lynn has been! And the Yumi takes her down, but the damage has been done. 2v3. They have a drill theft, but will it be enough to really secure a round like this? A Yumi low, but forward. She can catch him
30
off guard.
seconds left.
Going in for the spike plant now. Trying to bait out those peaks.
Timing.
One enemy remaining.
Uh-oh, it's a showstopper. It's a showstopper, Black and Blue. And it just makes her feel uncomfortable enough that she peeks out in towards Oreophilia's open arms. Once again, it's that ex-teammate that kind of turns things around. It's 7-5 at the end of the first
Switching
half.
sides.
It's always those X's sometimes that catch you off guard. But who's gonna catch us off guard is the panel stealing the show.
In the words of Black and Blue, thrifty is a state of mind, but Lynn, the linchpin for NWJ, whipping out the judge on the Killjoy, and their squad just ending defense on split 7-5 with that double duelist comp. What do we make of that, Raph?
I mean, in all honesty, with that type of scoreboard, or rather scoreline on attack split, I think it's still decently impressive on the side of RRQ, considering they were a little bit more mobile macro-wise. Again, they try to maximize that Cypher pick with what they've been doing and how they've been taking their fights, but Lynn has just been such a big problem, at least in the side of RRQ. Scythe, they've been, again, making the best out of this half, getting a considerable cushion, 2 rounds. They can afford to maybe potentially drop a pistol, which RRQ have been fantastic on, and that will still equalize the game. However, if Lynn continues this type of rampage and kind of, you know, being infectious, everybody's been slowly coming alive just because of this individual performance, then maybe, just maybe, we're gonna have a 3-map series. RRQ, I think they're gonna have a bit more of a brick wall defense here just because of that Cypher. You know, I've always been a fan of that. But hey, you know, another half, another story perhaps.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of defaulting, a lot of back and forth going on from both these teams. But I mean, 7-5, it's anyone's game at this point, and we about to find out. Gentlemen, back to you.
Well, 7-5 half, and no real reason to have a hefty laugh, as we're pretty tight and close here. And RRQ, the team favored to take this series, potentially, they're the ones who might be facing a third map to try and take Scythe down, but Scythe are no slouches at all. Obviously, every team has fought the long, hard way to get here, but an underdog of a team like Scythe is one that can surprise even the best.
It really, really does show up to be that way. I mean, you've seen how they kind of hold certain positions around the map, especially with Lynn and her performance thus far. Maybe a little bit more quiet on Haven as the Sova, but this time her anchoring has been sharp. Swapped sides though, and now they're attacking, and this is where you could really potentially start to see this double controller setup shine. Got the Toxic Screen to block off A, and now Iceberg making use of the Poison Cloud, which, by the way, can refresh, to reposition towards Mailroom.
Snakebite right after this to bring even more time with that smoke coming on down here. The vent is what they're pushing for. Ayumi's good for the one. Yamori on the trade, but Aluk and the rest of RRQ are climbing on the fight, and everybody goes down here. The big Scythe side. Nobody able to put up any sort of countermeasure. RRQ sailing into a pistol round win, potentially. Or Ophelia is able to find one, but Spike away from their hands in the vent. He has a paranoia, but will that even be enough to pull this clutch off? Oh, they know. They know exactly where she is. Ophelia, way too much. She's rattled the Hornet's Nests. She has to fall back. Doesn't have time to really wrap safely, so she has to run for it. Oh, she fakes it out, actually.
30 seconds left.
Okay. But with the spike down, again, all RQ has to do is to sit on top of that spike like a hen on an egg. Here it comes. Ophelia, back into it. A bit of a flash. Had a bit of a moment, but again, 3 targets, and Iceberg was available to take some shots instead. So 6-7, RRQ this time on this map, winning out in those pistols.
Unfortunately, the right click there doesn't connect, but if she took down that Viper here in an Iceberg ASAP, actually could have had the chance because Aluka was flashing. The last player was elsewhere. They're kind of watching towards mid on Nabsky. So
yeah, to me, it's just Nabsky. If she came out from behind, that would definitely have been a game over. But still, a great attempt nonetheless. And now we've got Ayumi on the judge. What is going to happen?
Already, huh? I mean, big looming threat, obviously. Not that Scythe are too aware of what's to come. They always have to know it's a possibility. B site is what they want to take. Tripwire in their face. It's only a single one, though, and nobody really playing off of any sort of one way, so taking that down, it doesn't immediately pull the defense just yet. Good discipline from RRQ not to over-adjust.
Oh no. NWJ walking back in towards mid, though. That's where Elika strikes. NWJ just trying to be so careful as to where they're going to approach, but because they don't have those guns, it's that much easier for RQ to just control everything.
They found my wire.
Push on in here towards the B site. Another tripwire dealt with. Yeah, so he's going to be the first point of contact.
Simple.
The real problem for her to deal with that, obviously. Pain shells. Oh, that's going to be a death sentence. The judge flying in, an angel of death. And the Yumi, just no real problem at all dealing with him.
Thanks.
RQ tapped the game.
There.
Up from above, it's that C-130. You know, we're just raining hell from above, am I right?
Spitting out fire and... yeah.
And a flawless wins. And also, this is why pistol rounds are so actually important, because off of this, RRQ has managed to tie up the scoreline 7-7.
Don't say. Especially with a deficit. That's a good momentum swing in their favor. Not the best weapons, but one that can certainly turn the tides here. on a bonus like this, especially in a map like Split, where you have lots of potential to make these type of weapons work on out. These SMGs, a Bulldog, they can be a lot more effective here than otherwise you might expect. And so NWJ, knowing that it is a bonus round, they play on back, expecting some sort of aggression from the kind of disadvantageous buy on Scythe's rather than RRQ side.
I mean, look at their positioning as well, BNB. So many Spectres and that Bulldog kind of positioned around mid. We got a Yumi just waiting for them to push into A. It's a good one, along with Yamori and her blast packs, but still, the spike has been dropped and left behind. A Yumi managing to cut down that last player. Now the rest of her team has to arrive on the scene, but still, just narrowly staying alive. Lin, though, such a pesky presence, and she takes down a couple more. It's all down to Yumi at 5 HP. Oh no, is it gonna happen? All right,
no,
all right.
Not this time around.
Okay.
They took down kind of the rest of the defense before they even bothered with a spike, wanting to use their advantage in terms of player count because they knew, hey, we can get that spike back anyway, so why not? And that's what they do. So save, I think, here for Yumi. Unfortunately enough, whatever kind of luck she found there and dropping the spike towards a main just wasn't able to be converted into any sort of real chance. RRQ, they won't be taking the lead over just yet.
Yeah, not quite. Not a lot of damage dealt to NWJ as well, so they're looking pretty comfortable for the next round or so. So yeah, it's just up to RQ. Ayumi saving, that's a good call. Everyone else gets to buy back up. Just waiting for the real game to start in this next round.
Here we go. I mean, what we were talking about here, with that comp, off of a RRQ on the defense, is double controller, the Cypher, so much more stall potential. And we're seeing good discipline from RRQ generally on their rounds, where they aren't over-rotating just yet. They know they can buy some time. There's a lot to burn here. NWJ, their focus has to be burning off that util early. Maybe getting rid of that paranoia would be huge, but just kind of running down the clock on maybe the toxic screen or the poison orb before anything else is thrown. Burn out those snake bites. That's going to make their job a lot easier, tenfold so, later on in the latter stages of the rounds. There, that's one snake bite burnt already. And for a Trailblazer, that's good enough of a trade for util, considering how much they're getting used here from RRQ.
Just trying to read Scythe's movements as well, but it is not the easiest task. Just gonna have to play it safe.
Oh.
Okay. All right, we got the showstopper though. I'm going in for the spray. Not quite able to stay alive. Trade's coming through now. Iceberg lets them slip. Gets spotted out by a player too though, so that does not bode too well for RQ.
Oh, nice angle there from Yamori. Tags Iceberg on up. Going for the spam. Can't really find it. Can't really connect. But Napski in towards elbow. Didn't even expect that already at that moment. Still, 2v3 retake here. Advantage in NWJ.
Time to hunt.
What a flash as well. Just buying a little bit more time, but here comes Iceberg. Good bit of sharp shooting. Has to double back though. Another player up around Rams, and that's gonna be Lin.
One enemy remaining.
Elka comes back around now and confirms the last player on the site itself. She has to land it perfectly, but pop flash still coming back in for it, and she has enough time to stick the defuse. Bit of a miscalculated play perhaps from NWJ, and puts RRQ back at an even scoreline. A 1-on-3 clutch coming out from Elka.
Unfortunately there for NWJ, could have been theirs, but RRQ once more keeping it close, never letting it slip. That's why you don't want to curve the flash around the corner there. You just simply want to throw it. Don't even control it. Pop it and peek at the same time, because now with the amount of time it takes for you to pull out your weapon, it's very easily dodgeable and counteractable. RRQ, great effort there to stop them from barreling down, even with the early advantage from Scythe. So if you're Scythe, I don't think you're doing anything too wrong just yet, but Alka gets a pick off here. Good shutdown on the op, though.
Alright, that's one less player to worry about. We don't have to think about Yumi anymore.
Especially those paint shells.
Got the snake bites, though. And they try to challenge the poison cloud. Iceberg managing to get a spray down onto one of them, at least. The rest of NWJ now, they might have to back off against this because this is a wall that's been put up against them towards mid.
There's a tripwire there, too.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
caught.
Oh, they're thinking about going back to B.
Oh, that is where the trip is here towards his B site. And without having that Trailblazer anymore, it's not going to be easy to burn that off. They can bypass it for sure. Raze, Omen, but they could get tripped up in it as well. Obviously, if they contact this, they can see it right here, and there it is, caught out. Yamori, I'm not sure if they destroyed it. They finally do, and Yamori still gets a kill off. Seeker is connecting at the right opportune moment, and Scythe have somehow turned this into their favor.
A good bit of teamwork, just helping Yamori out with that trip, and the Seekers too. Here it comes. All right, Orphilia, where did she go to? Into towards garage. The rest of the team from RRQ. This is such a tough angle, and Yamori pops the showstopper to secure the round. Unfortunately shot out midair, but still enough time for Crescents to recenter and refocus her aim, putting NWJ up on top with a 9-8.
That's actually very close. Crescents could have been taken on down there as she's a single bullet away, I believe, from being in death, really. But NWJ still hold on to the lead. Maybe the ult could have been saved. Didn't really have much of an effect there, timing-wise, but great effort for sure. It did, at the very least, kind of make her the primary target, allowing somebody like Crescents to follow up on those kills. A timeout forced from RRQ. So remember, as we talked about, out of all the maps, this could be the one where Scythe have one of the biggest chances of turning this towards their favor, even though it's an RRQ pick.
And that's the most curious thing as well. You would have expected a much better performance, but that said, RRQ Kaguya showing signs of a bit of struggle.
Actually, now that I think about it, Bind isn't great either for RRQ. It's been one of the better maps for at least Scythe recently. So, RRQ, the longer the series gets, you'd argue that the more veteran team would be favored, but in this case, the veto, at least so far, speaks otherwise.
Still a very close scoreline, though.
Yeah.
And I don't want to count them out, especially not after Coach Ducky's timeout. That was his last one, but so far, they've always usually managed to find bits of impact. So here we go. And it's a call to push out of A. Going in to check, it's too silent, and he's still able to flick upwards. But here comes Yamori. It's that bulldog, and it bites hard, does not let go. One player gone. Bess down to 6 HP.
A good
Topped
trade-off.
up by Alka, okay.
They're all theft as well. Confirming, hey, they're all towards B, not A. But they have a cow on site, and as long as Snapsky doesn't turn this on, you're not going to know, which is going to be very useful for the retake later on. She can pop that open for a mere second and just get pretty much information on the site. And look at where they press, look at where they push. They go towards Ali instead. Let's see how they work this. You got the Viper spin on the site itself, on the spike. Crescent's good for the one on the pressure. Bess on the trade. Difficult position to be in, but they're making it happen. Bess, the timing, a triple for her! Not expecting the aggression to come in that time. It's all on the Lin. Let's see what she can do. Lin going absolutely insane here, buying them time. Gets a double at the end. How close it came. That's a heartbreaker of a round to lose, but NWJ hold on.
Despite Bess's best efforts, still, Lin sanity is what we observe. It's what we witness, Black and Blue. And she always knows how to play patiently, knowing that she had the advantage of the spike. Just to try to play it safe, going for that tap. Darting in at the right moment. Incredible. She has been putting up an outstanding performance on this very map. 10 to 8 is what we have because of her.
So many big time moments from such a big player here in Lin. Continuously gaining them rounds that could have assuredly gone the other way. Trying to fight over the garage control here right now. Counter paranoia, counter flashes on either side. Nobody really giving it on up without much util burnt. I'm curious if NWJ continue on towards this B.
Thinking about it, but maybe not so much anymore, especially with the control coming out from Bess as well as Alika. By the way, Lin is Scythe NWJ's newest addition to their squad. Also her first time playing Elite along with Sky Elise.
What a great addition she has been so far. Pushing towards the A site though, as it's mostly free for the taking. Great spam off of that, off the tripwire.
30
To the
seconds
cage already
left.
placed by Nabsky to try and get them elbow control. When the time does come, retake to coming on soon. Spike not committed just yet, but already fighting for it here. Yeah, delaying them at the moment. This is going to come down to a bloodbath. Iceberg good for the one. They know Yamori has one somewhere here within the site. She gets the one, but could not trade out for a second. As Bess secures it here finally. RRQ once more, not letting this escape them just yet.
Yeah, you really love to see that happening when RRQ starts to decide to go in to deny those spike plants. I mean, first of all, trap play coming out from Navsky is just impeccable. And then that lovely little bit of individual squad movement maneuver with Bess and Iceberg kind of pushing out from screens, wrapping back to watch that angle onto elbow, and then isolating that last lone player on the site itself. It's 10 to 9, and that's how they kind of work their way around it. Eco for NWJ.
NWJ. Obviously not the most opportune round for them. Frags, for the most part, in favor here of RRQ. Halting that push only momentarily, though. Dropping on to Hell, Iceberg, a double for her. The Titanic couldn't stand up to it. What more or less you? Oriophilia left alone, and that's gonna be Iceberg taking down 3 this time.
I thought that it was such a hard-fought and incredible lead coming out from Scythe NWJ. It was 10 to 8. And all of a sudden, with 1 win and incredible movements coming up from RRQ Kaguya, we've tied up the score 10 to 10 again, Black and Blue. Good thing is Scythe NWJ can buy back up again, and they've got a couple of ultimates to work with, the crucial ones to boot. But again, it's always lovely to see when RQ Kaguya are working so well together. That pop flash from Alika, the movement to drop down off of Heaven from her teammate. And now they're just going back to a defensive play.
They did it again. RRQ. This time on over, though. Can they overtake? They've been following them on this straight, but it's about getting up ahead that matters most in this race. Nabsky obviously neural theft online, but the bigger one is a secrets plus lockdown combo, which can push back and then confirm positions on the site when they do commit, potentially here towards A. Only sole defender there being Alika, and she's taken down. Oof. But even with that, they don't commit. They run towards B, which the defense, they're gonna assume it should be A for the most part.
Yeah, the dark cover or poison cloud already confirms it.
I've got your trail.
And rotations have been pulled over onto the A site, leaving B somewhat defenseless.
Found one.
Not unless Bess can do something, but even then, she's
There's
being
another.
chased by that little cabbage. So,
30 seconds left.
support now coming out from Ayumi from top of Heaven. Blind shots being fired at her, though. Oh, this is making me uncomfortable.
Oh, dangerous moment there for her, but luckily keeps her head for the most part. Sky Elise, not even good for the one. Ayumi good for the double here. Up top from the heavens, from the rafters! In RRQ! This should be the round where they take things away. Neural theft confirms where Lin is.
Thanks.
And even with her big plays, this is way too out of her hands. RRQ take the lead.
I can't believe what we just saw. Ayumi is back. Ayumi is here. Ayumi is collecting on heads on top of heads. And she just works off of that initial distraction from her teammates pushing out of defender's spawn. Look at this.
Lovely stuff. Deny Skylace from up above. Follows down from the backside to the backside, rather, from the rafters. My goodness. How they fell. RRQ. Great position now to take match point on in. Momentum in their favor. Got the economy to buy up after another, even if this goes south. But the ultimates here available for NWJ. That's the one saving grace, a trump card to keep this game alive.
Well, look at how RRQ are controlling this once more. One way. Oh, okay, they're gonna get hit by the paranoia. Alka's trapped. Unfortunately eliminated. Here comes that lockdown that you were talking about, BND. And this is very well, should be the Scythe. Ayumi's overstaying her welcome for just a second, but she knows that she can do that because of that satchel. Very nice.
Yeah, lockdown's gonna buy them the space, so don't need to burn the lockdown just yet. Rather the showstopper, but best good for the one. Immediately taken on down though, and no, this is disastrous here for Scythe. They had the round, they had the showstopper as well to throw to kind of stop the push.
Okay.
But look at this Crescent. Should go for 2 here at the very least, looking for where the third on it. Oh,
30 seconds left.
Really the best option.
She's. Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna expect a alley push more than anything here, but
this is smart.
still don't check. No, that's still the one though. You know one's towards heaven, you know the other's towards the site, and still doesn't turn on out. I mean, obviously we have a different perspective, but just wasn't the right call at the end.
A little bit early on the initial shot, huh? You can see the idea. That was really, really fun.
One enemy remains.
For a second, just insert Pink Panther music.
She was cooking for sure. Trying to cook something up, just unfortunately was a recipe for disaster at the end. Timeout from Scythe.
Here we are. Match point.
Series point, really.
Oh yeah, series point. Thank you. And once again, Ayumi is popping off. 25 kills. And she's 1 point away from her ultimate, from her showstopper. The rest of her team are 2 points away only. And if you look at NWJ's economy, it's how would you describe this one, Black and Blue?
Me. It's poor. It's broke.
You did not.
I guess that's the best way to put it. I think if you look at though the bigger picture here from Scythe in general, it's not necessarily their, utility economy that's been a problem, but their ultimate economy. I don't think they've been utilizing their ultimates as much as they should and in opportunities that they could. And because of that, it's made rounds that they have an advantage in, like that previous one. They have the B site. You start to go for a plant, you pop the showstopper, stops the retake from happening too early, and maybe pushes even more space in your favor. Those type of things we didn't see from Scythe, and they're a good team, but there's just that one step that's keeping them a bit separated from other teams like RRQ and Orangutan X.
To secure those crucial rounds, huh? Well, regardless, I don't want to count them out because so far throughout the series, we have seen a lot of thrifty rounds.
Oh, yeah.
And who's to say it's not going to happen again? Yamori has been giving us crazy performances, especially on Haven. Lin, this time on Split, has been showing up as well. That lockdown was effective, but that said, still, RRQ have kicked things up a notch. Especially since Ayumi is now just flowing through sites, really. When she wants to, she's able to take down entire defenses by her lonesome. And that's always, always a sight to behold. And it just makes me think again, like, first of all, if RRQ Kaguya wins this series, that means It's a full sense RRQ Kaguya rematch in the upper semifinals.
Again.
Like we saw in Open 3.
It's happened way too many times.
A lot.
At
Yes.
this point. I mean, the upper half as well on SMG versus Orangutan. We saw that too in literally Open 3, Open 2, and Open 1.
I know, right? And this happens so much that we actually have a statistic given to us by our very lovely FSL admins that says whenever RRQ Kaguya and Full Sense Sapphire meet, there's bound to be a map play to the point of overtime occurring.
Really? Ain't that
Evidently so, yes.
Ain't that why do you get these notes? Where are my notes from?
Did you not get this package? Let me send you.
I am not the premier caster of this duo, sir. I do not get no free packages. I work for my own homework.
I caused tech pauses, so
I kid. Obviously it's there. I am negligent. Is the real thing. But that's a true answer. Yes.
It's a thing that happens, right? Overtime between these two teams, RQ Kaguya and possibly, Full Sense Sapphire. And then, just rooting for that upper final between either RQ Kaguya or Full Sense Sapphire or SMG. But here we go.
Yep.
Serious point.
Showstopper up.
Begins.
Obviously not the best buy for sure, Quack, but let's see what he can do with it. Iceberg. Knowing they could be barreling down her way, gives up the vent. It's not some place they need to control because they're not necessarily fighting for heaven either, nor that male position. So you're not going for heaven control on the defense necessarily. You can give that on up. It doesn't really give you much, but it matters more for the attacking side to hold it than for the defense to defend it. Push on in, showstopper on out, and there's no way in hell Alka gets out of that one alive. Scythe is theirs. How the retake works is a different question.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time for our teammates arrive on the scene. Napsky able to kind of falter back for a second. Iceberg staying alive as well. She's got some snake bites that she can throw. Not to mention the paint shells along with Ayumi as well as Bess. They're going to start things off with a bit of coordination. They have to watch out for Heldum, and the paint shells will connect. Three players already dropped dead. It's all up to Langer. Unfortunately, can't quite survive. But here comes Oreophilia holding the angle from inside of Garage. Shrouded step. But unfortunately, the spike's not planted for her. She has to make a move, but it's not meant to be. Iceberg sticks the defuse, and Napsky collects on the final frag. And with that, RRQ Kaguya punches their ticket into the upper semis against Full Sense Sapphire.
Wouldn't actually be a bad idea there for Oreophilia to kind of TP, use her ult into the alley so she can have a bit more space to work with there, and the plant would be actually for her. And obviously Sky Elise just, I think, jumping the gun a bit too early, kind of getting nervous. She sees the barrel, wants to go for the spam, but it just was too early and gave away her position, and that's what I was talking about. They take the site, but the post plant hold against her retake's going to be a very, very different scenario. And RRQ, this time around, able to edge it out in the end, but a good fight still made by Scythe. They're not out just yet, but it wasn't exactly the ending I was hoping to see from Scythe when they could have made this into map number 3.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're seeing so much of Lin and Yamori and Sky Elise as well. Despite this being some of their first times playing Game Changers APAC Elite, they are putting up big numbers. And that's always something
Especially
that deserves
Lin.
applause. Yes!
Yeah, for a new player coming up on in here, big expectations against one of the former champs in other opens in the past year. Big stuff done, but even bigger that you all should recognize and respect and watch is our panel.
With how back and forth this map was, I thought for sure we could smell that OT, but RRQ managed to wrap things up 2-0. Despite the 2-0 scoreline though, this is probably one of the closest 2-0s we've seen. Both maps 13-10.
I mean, essentially, it was almost a 2-1, right? Again, there's just so many points in the competition where a small decision could have snowballed into something else for Scythe, but as we mentioned, there's just a lot more experience on the side of RRQ. We do have to give the props to the new additions of Scythe to really putting them closer to just going over that edge. They really need just that much more, well, not more, but just a little bit more help to go over the hill to really break into that top 3, top 4 spot. But in any case, the biggest thing to me is that RRQ, they look much more stable now. There were times in the opens where if they weren't leading in a dominant fashion, they just couldn't reset and couldn't default properly and execute the way they would want. But now that they've really shown a different tone when it comes to tempering their own firepower while still having that classic RRQ explode, especially in those last few rounds, right? It was very telling. Like RRQ, they were just kind of chilling. And then once the big hits happened, they were also ready to answer back with a swift retake or just pretty much a multi-frag coming in from really any one of these players.
Yep, and that's the scoreboard for map number 2. Ayumi just straight winning. Ayumi is here, Ayumi is back, Ayumi is mother. 27, 16, 350 ACS, 9 first bloods as well. Just, RRQ putting everything into the Ayumi Raise basket, and it just paying off big. Yamori, though, 20 to 50 ACS, 4 first bloods as well. I mean, Scythe, props to them, right? They fought so hard for this map too. I mean, you could tell that, especially towards the end, that very last time out, they were trying so hard to bring this to that map 3. Bit unfortunate for them that kind of like steam ran out by the end, but yeah. Interesting post-plant stats. It looks very even. So 5-10 and 3-7. What this kind of tells us is that, both these teams are pretty evenly matched. And that's kind of what you expect, right? Coming from the Haven post-plant stats to this post-plant stats.
True. And again, another theme that was recurring all throughout the series was just star play from both these teams. RRQ, as you mentioned, Ayumi had so many moments where it looked like it wasn't winnable for them, but Ayumi just going massive, getting clutch after clutch, and just being the bulldozer of RRQ. Whereas, again, we saw moments of that from Lin and from Sky Elise on the side of Scythe, but ultimately just the collective effort of RRQ Kaguya was just way too much to handle.
Yeah, I agree. And talking about, just the Ayumi clutch, right? It's like some rounds, they just don't look winnable, and then Ayumi's like, hold my beer. Okay, maybe not beer. Hold my bubble tea. Maybe that's the one. But she just manages to turn it around. Of course, Scythe will be playing GE Phoenix in the lower bracket. That'll be their next game on Thursday. Whereas RRQ are going to get their arch rival matchup versus Full Sense tomorrow. This is the 6th or the 7th time this year that we're going to get this matchup once again. But Scythe, they might have lost today, but I feel like their stocks are way up.
Oh yeah, I feel like they've honestly just become stronger, and that's been their whole thing ever since we saw them for the first time. I think this year, I forget which open it was, but they've been improving every step of the way. But at the same time, every single team and every other player has also been evolving and getting that much stronger, and that's what we're here for Game Changers.
Exactly, and guys, I think we do have Aluka on the line for the winner's interview. Aluka, can you hear us? Hi!
Hi.
Oh my god, thank you so much for doing the post-match interview with us. Of course, congratulations on the 2-0 win. We have to ask, because map 1 and map 2 were both so close. Was there any point in the entire series where you thought, oh, we might lose this map, or you were nervous or something? Was there any point like that, or were you girls just so confident?
Every game that we play, as long as it's not over yet, then it's not over yet. So we just play it round by round. So there wasn't any thinking that, oh, we lost this round, we might lose the game. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great mindset to have. We were really interested in the way that the map veto worked, especially split and bind, because usually your team does not play split and does not play bind. Can you maybe tell us, why you decided to pick that for today? Don't leak strats, but whatever you can
They
tell
took
us.
away our Pearl and our map pick from before, so we learned new maps for this open. I mean, for this
Any new map, does that mean sunset?
permaban.
Don't
Yeah.
leak strats. Don't make her leak the maps.
I'm sorry. Well, Raph, you got any questions for Aluka?
I do, actually. I don't know if she remembers, but she promised me and Taylor tacos a few opens ago, and I'm honestly still waiting on that. Is that gonna happen? Is my only question.
When I come back in PH.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I'm gonna go tell Taylor. Taylor, Aluka is still buying us tacos. There you go.
I feel like Aluka has done so well that it should probably be Terar and you, Raph, buying Aluka
that's true.
tacos.
That's actually
Agree.
true. Don't turn this on us. But you know what? Maybe sure. Why not? It's supposed to be my free time. It's
Maybe
okay.
you could
It's
get
okay.
drinks,
Congrats
I
again.
could get
It's fine.
food.
That would be a fun time. I want to ask you also real quick because tomorrow, it's going to be RRQ versus Full Sense once again. The last time y'all met, it was end of Open 3 when you guys finally got the 2-0 over them. How are things gonna go tomorrow?
It's always fun to play against them because we're friends in real life, and it's always like a banter to trash talk and to have fun with them on the server.
Can you give us an example of the kind of trash talk?
Oh, like the admin could
I have no
probably
part
hear
of
us. But it's like confidential, I think.
I think so too. For the sake of everyone, it's a bit of a player secret. Come on, Rayerchu. First, you're asking for the map. Now you're asking for player comms. It's okay though.
just keeping things light, But yeah, thank you so much, Aluka, to take time out of the post-match to give us this interview. Of course, good luck tomorrow and good luck for the rest of this week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I love just hearing from the players in the post match, and we see RRQ versus Full Sense so often, and every single time that we ask either of the teams about how they think the matchup will go, they're just we just want to have fun. We're such good friends. It's win or lose, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna trash talk, off camera.
Yeah.
Off camera, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I'm so excited for the rematch tomorrow.
As long as it's within the game and as long as it's nothing too personal, a little bit of banter here and there never hurt anyone. And I feel like Full Sense and RRQ, they are a little bit of a spitting image of each other. Again, there were very interesting stats that were brought up by our casters. There's always going to be an overtime, so the familiarity is there. And speaking of familiarity, SMG versus OGX to start off tomorrow.
I mean, tomorrow's upper bracket 2 games, right? Because we got SMG versus OGX to start things off at 5 p.m. And then after that is Full Sense versus RRQ. Literally, this could not be more scripted. If we had tried, but I'm so pumped. Elite is just the point in time where these teams want to peak, where they want to do their best. And we've seen a couple of these matchups go either way. So it's gotta be anyone's game tomorrow, man. This is where it counts.
That is definitely something I agree with. And I feel like sometimes it's a bit set in stone because these particular matches, I feel like we've seen them quite a few times now, and there's without failure, it's always going to be the SMG OGX to start it off. And then it's always going to be the Full Sense versus RRQ game. But either way, it's always so exciting and it's always such a treat, no matter what part of the year we're going to be watching these matches on.
For sure, it's our pleasure to be able to watch along with you guys back home. But to all of you, thank you for joining us for day number 2 of the VCT Game Changers APAC Elite. From Raph and I here on the desk, and your casters from today, Black and Blue and Quack. Today's games went hard, and if you'd like to see more, then join us tomorrow, same place, same time.
Remaining. Spike down. One enemy remaining.
Got the money in the bank.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Show me what you got. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.